that the wound killed Smith. But Isaac contends that his client isn't to blame for the death of Smith. She acted in self-defense, said Isaac. She stabbed him, but her actions were reasonable when confronted with the reasonable possibility of bodily harm or death to herself. That's what the jury instruction calls for in this kind of case. McDonald was also bleeding profusely from the wound in her face from the shattered glass and had every reason to believe that she was in danger, said Isaac. And because Smith also do the shuffling thing, like in boxing, Isaac believed that Smith also going to hurt McDonald. That's why McDonald has every reason to believe that she is in danger. That from these reasons, Isaac thinks that it undercuts any kind of intentional action on her part. So Isaac believed that McDonald doesn't have any intention to kill Smith. She's just doing self-defense. So to strengthen his points, he's providing three main points here. The first evidence is that Smith's criminal history, which is extensive, a lot. And perhaps the reason he chose the word outlaw tattooed across his back. So Smith has a tattoo of the word outlaw in his back. And since turning 18, Smith has faced more than 2,000 criminal cases. And he has been convicted of 5th-degree assault and domestic assault. Some of these happened so long ago, and the court records have been destroyed. The second evidence is of the toxicology result by Dr. Real Desiroris of a University of Minnesota professor. The toxicology results said that in that time, Smith's body has a lot of toxin. There are including methamphetamine, opiates, benzoyl-gluconide, and a metabolite of cocaine. From the combined toxins of methamphetamine and benzoyl-gluconide, this can be the very reason of someone to act of an unpredictable and unwarranted violence can occur and is common. So from these two toxins, it's common for someone to act violence, to do a violence act. The third evidence that has the most controversial issue is the tattoo of swastika. This is known after the Smith's autopsy, and on his desk, only inches away from the stab wound, is a 4-inch tattoo of swastika. Like this.
Okay. At this point, I need to ask Professor Shi to give comments because she has to leave shortly. So we have to interrupt at this point. Then you can stay.
I cannot stay, but I think it's better to have them.
Right.
I can come back.
But I mean, we would like to hear your comments. If you can just raise the major concern here, maybe Professor Shi
Yeah, but
can.
they haven't finished.
They're almost done. They're almost done. Yes. Sorry, so can you get the major argument, the next slide, so Professor Shi can give some feedback?
Okay. So the swastika tattoo is a symbol of toward violence and hatred toward black people. That's why this one can be used as an argument. But from the point of view of the Hennepin County Attorney Michael Freeman, it's a simple affair that McDonald took a person's life. That's why she deserved to do some time in prison. That's the first point. The second point is that Smith is not the one who smashed the glass across her cheek, and that's why McDonald doesn't have a reason to stab Smith because Smith is not the one who assaulted her. To me, that just doesn't fit. The third point is that the swastika tattoo of Smith, the attorney said that it is irrelevant. She couldn't see it, nor anyone could. It adds a little bit of sensationalism to the case. So this this doesn't mean anything to the attorney. And then the trial began. The jury gave a chance for the both sides to provide their comments. And the first one to be commented is the swastika tattoo. The prosecution side argued that it's not irrelevant and very prejudicial, given no one knew about it until the autopsy. But Isaac contends that the prosecutor claims, arguing that the tattoo communicates Smith's feelings toward people who are different than himself. And CeCe is about as different from Dan Smith than anyone. And then the courtroom idiom sneakers. It wasn't communicated, retorts prosecutor Amy Swayze, just like something under Mr. Smith's bed wasn't communicated. And then the judge Daniel Moreno says that he will weigh the arguments about the swastika tattoo letter, and then the defense toxicology expert can testify about that methamphetamine and benzoyl-lacocnine, but it only to the effect of the drug in general, not because the reason of the Smith behavior that night. And then Smith criminal history is not allowed. But the prosecution request to admit McDonald's statement on blogs and Facebook is permitted, as it speaks to the believability of McDonald. And then Moreno ultimately decided that the swastika tattoo will not be admitted, ruling that it doesn't speak to Smith's intent. The tattoo is not an evidence that Smith subscribed to any belief, but it only established that Smith doesn't intend to threaten or fight or kill anyone. It's just like an accessories. It doesn't speak anything.
Okay, next I would like to explain about the generous offer here in this case. What is the generous offer here referring to? It refers to the period of imprisonment that CeCe McDonald is going to serve. In the morning of 2nd of May, the prosecution side lawyer and defensive side lawyer are discussing about a settlement on CeCe's case, as Judge Moreno wants an answer from them. So the prosecution side lawyer, whose name is Swayze, offered 48 months, but then replied by the defensive side lawyer named Leroy, saying that he has to be better than 48 months. So he said he offered 36 months. Judge Moreno has to make a decision between these, so he refers to the book on sentencing guidelines and flipped to the minimum punishment for second-degree manslaughter. The charge was 41 months of imprisonment. And as CeCe McDonald is a transgender, so she...
To the very last line, just pay attention to the very last paragraph.
So McDonald is sent to the Minnesota Correctional Facilities and Club, a men's prison. So here's our questions. The first question is, if a guy harasses a guy by any act, do you think it's sexual harassment as well? How do you define sexual harassment? Secondly, what do you think about CeCe McDonald's placement in men's prison? The last question is, if CeCe McDonald is a woman, do you think she will be sentenced to prison? Will the judge see the act as self-defense?
Thank you.
We're not done yet, because later our group is going to use these questions for group discussion. But for now, before Professor Shi has to leave, we would like her to give us some comments on what she saw in the presentation. Basically, is this a self-defense case or is this murder? How do we know? If it's is it because CeCe McDonald is a transgender person? That's why we use double standard to evaluate this case. And what's going to happen when a transgender is put into a men's prison? What's her fate, after she's put in a men's prison? So those are some of the questions our group raised. Now let's welcome Professor Shi to give us some comments.
I'm sorry that I'm in a big hurry because I have to pick up my son after school. And because their school bus runs to the Minshong hot bun. Do you know the Misha hot bun, that shop at the Main Street? Okay, and so he always gets scared if I'm not there on time because he said, "Oh, Mom, maybe they'll take me to make into a bun." So, so he wants me to be punctuate when I go there. Right, about this one. I don't think I know whether it's really a murder or not, or whether they make judgment on this case because CeCe McDonald is transgender. I can't really judge from what I was given here. But I think what is really good about this presentation is that you first made some definition of very important or key concepts that you wish to discuss about. So I think that's a very good way of making presentation. And the second thing is that you use quite straightforward description to tell us about the case. Okay, so there are not, well, maybe there are some vocabularies, but I think even if some of you might not understand all of the vocabularies, but we can still get the main point of what has happened in this case. And I think the best thing is that when I was listening to you telling us about the case, I was wondering, what is this going to do with racism, gender equality, or sexual equality, or sexual harassment, etc.? I didn't understand the connection between your main concepts and this case, okay? But then suddenly I see these questions and I realize what you want to do, okay? So this is, I think this is very good, give us some excitement in the class to wake people up. So I think you are going to, I'm really sorry that I'm going to miss your discussion. I'm sure that there are going to be very exciting discussion about this, but I just want to make very little comments about these three questions as I saw the case. Say, if a guy harasses a guy by any act, do you think it's sexual harassment as well? You see, you saw the definition of sexual harassment, right? So, very important elements in the definition was first, there is body contact in the sense of gender differences, might not be sexual differences. It's gender differences. It's that when I look at you, I take you as a woman, and so I'm not interested in you, right? But when I'm looking at you, I take you as a man, and I'm interested. Then I touch you like that, okay? That's sexual harassment, okay? So maybe for all of you, a woman is touching a woman. What's wrong with that? But for me, I want to touch her because of her gender attraction to me, and that make her feel unwelcome. That's sexual harassment, okay? So for me, I think it doesn't matter whether a guy harass a guy or harass. It's not your business. It's how the person who is harassed that feel harassed. That's the main point, okay? And that's why maybe sexual harassment is not part of the criminal law, because in the criminal law, when you want to criminalize or you want to punish some conduct, you need to have a very precise definition of that conduct. So you can't punish somebody's behavior because the other person does not feel well, okay? And that's why sexual harassment is not a behavior to be punished in criminal law, all right? And this is one thing I want to share with you, as a law professor myself. And second is that when we are talking about sexual harassment, we have to be quite careful about the definition, because the way that sexual harassment was defined in the United States is always in the field of working place. Okay, so sexual harassment in itself is not really about sex, it's about power. It's about misuse of power, but to ask for sexual flavor. Okay, not flavor, sexual favor. All right. So if I say I'm a professor, right? So when I sort of decide to fail you, okay, and you know that you are a handsome boy, and Professor Shi is very famous for having interests in very young and handsome boys, okay. So he comes to me and said, Professor, how about if I do some massage for you once every week for a year, and then you let me pass, okay? So he harassed me. That's sexual harassment, because he used some kind of sexual offer to try to exchange for some favor, because I have power over him, right? So the other way around also work. I say, oh, come on, young boys, come to my room. Let's discuss about, how you've done in this semester. And when he entered my room, I say, oh, I think, something like this and that and that and that. And, I think you've got very nice fingers. If you can use those to, do some massage on my face, I might just feel very nice, and I will be pleased, and you will get a very high grade in your homework. If I said that, that's sexual harassment. Okay, but that's what we think it is sexual harassment. In the court, if he followed my instruction and come to my room once every week to give me some massage, okay, then that becomes love affair, okay? All right. So, if he say no, Professor, this is wrong, okay? I would rather you fail me, than to touch your dirty body and things like that. Okay, then he can accuse me of sexual harassment because he had said no to me. It's very important. Sorry, it's my son. Can I just because he doesn't want to be a bum. 喂，高思涵，妈妈等一下就来，你等我一下下，好不好？啊，你等我5分钟，好不好？我会迟到5分钟，对，哈。他们不会带你去做明雄肉包，对不对？啊 ，OK， 好，乖，等一下见，哈 ，OK， 好。对，好不好？你在7-Eleven里面等妈妈5分钟，妈妈有一点点迟到，好吗 ？OK， 好，不要担心，好 ，OK， 好。5分钟很久，这没关系，我用来不及说话好了，好不好？好。Sorry about this. I'm sorry. Okay, so I think that's what I want to share with you. So how about CeCe McDonald's placement in men's prison? Do you mean I still don't know? He or she is a transgender. So is he a man or a woman now? He's
becoming a woman.
Oh, he used to be a man, and he's becoming a woman. But on his identification card, he might be still a man. That's why under the law, he has to go to men's prison. It happened the same here in Taiwan. Like even, we call them transsexuals. Even I transsex myself into a man. On my identification card, I'm still a woman. Okay, so it will be quite difficult for me to get married to a man, even if I look like a man.